It's no news that Starlink service is now the most reliable internet service ever to happen to Nigerians. And today on this test, we'll be doing a real world test of how reliable the global roaming plan is. And this is Calabar, Nigeria, Cross River State. And on today's episode of this show, we have Starlink Gen 3 kits here, which has the Gen 3 mesh. And the most amazing thing that made me go for the Starlink Gen 3 is that you have your two Ethernet ports here to tether out to, of course, if you're using a router or you want to extend the mesh, it's quite easy without the need for an add-on service. So that is a plus for the Gen 3 mesh. And this is a V4 package. And of course, we'll be driving, so we'll be dealing with power. And to power this, our setup, we have our laptop here, the Starlink Gen 3 system or kit, and we have the UBAO 300 ENQ power station to power both the Starlink kits as well as our laptop. And also would be testing out this intermittently to, just give you an idea if it suits more like on the move, Starlink service can come to your rescue in such scenarios. So, and at every point in time, would have to stop and do an upload and download test just to give you an idea of if you're moving to different places, what sort of numbers you're expecting. So, without much further ado, of course, we're giving credit to our Insta360 motion cam that will be capturing all the amazing sceneries of our journey. All right, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so we're ready to head out now. Everything is cocked and loaded. The Starlink is up and running, and of course, we have our laptop here. So let's see what we have as our startup upload and download speed. So just let's check what we have here. And I'm using that on the fast.com app. And also on the Starlink app here, I'm testing out the upload and download speed. For now, we are having an download speed of 258 and an upload speed of 12 Mbps. I think that's pretty much okay. And would see subsequent changes in the numbers as we go. And on the fast.com app, we are having 13 megabits per second. I'm pretty sure that's off. Then we have here 4.1 as the upload speed, which we already know that Starlink is not really that excellent or super, on the uploads. But let's just see what we have on different drive scenarios. So we'll be testing out also the internet connectivity as we drive by. So this is going to be a very not so long video, but we'll just be doing loads of tests as we go by. And I'll just try to go on YouTube and see if we can still stay connected. All right, so I'm on YouTube now. Let me go on my video. There's one video I love so much, and it was more like a drive-through from Calabar to. Okay, so this is playing smoothly without buffer. Let me brighten the screen. So, all right. So on YouTube too, I'm going to. Okay, we have an incoming vehicle somewhere. We are now on the move, and I just want to do another speed test as we're going. So I'll just try to be a little careful because it's really not advisable to be driving. But at some point, I'd have to stop to just fast.com. I'm really not sure fast.com is giving me the most accurate readings so far, but anyways, we're just relying on the numbers. So I'm rerunning that again to see, now that we are on motion, what the numbers are. And so far on fast.com, we are having an average of around, it's just settling between 49, 48, 45, the 40s. So we have our numbers here. So let me tap on the show more info. So we have upload speed of 2.2 megabits per second. As a content creator, it's really important to me how fast the upload is, but always for Starlink, we are, still on the downsides of the numbers. So 2.5, it's pretty small, yeah. So more like a 1 gig of video file to upload via to YouTube or any other platform might take quite a while, maybe 40 something minutes, 50 something minutes, or even an hour, just for like a gig of file. So that's more like the effect of low upload speeds. But the good part is that this upload speed is stable compared to other networks that, yeah, like our networks around MTN, Glow, Etisalat. I think I shouldn't be calling that. It's not my network, but I'm sorry to the Etisalat guys, but that's Airtel seems pretty much like, giving more upload speeds nowadays, but MTN still remains one of the most reliable. Okay, so on the Starlink app here, we have the download speed of 155 megabits per second and 2 megabits per second upload. So we still have it around the same figure fast.com is giving us. So yeah, it pretty much tallies. And I'm approaching the first junction, which is the FHA junction. This is Calabar. Calabar has different city landmarks, and we would get to all the city landmarks just to see how this real world test, applies. And the first one we are approaching is the FHA roundabout. Of course, it's kind of crowded. I don't know. The sky is not too sunny. It's a cloudy weather. Also, weather can play a role, but I don't know. So all of these are numbers that we'll look through and see if Starlink holds up to itself as the most reliable internet service provider in the world. All right. So we're approaching there in less than a minute. Okay, so for some moments, the service was out. I think for some reason, I might just say that was weird because I don't know, but we had totally blanked out of service and we're stationary now. Okay, so I'm running the test again and we're having on the fast.com, I'm having, 2.6 megabits per second on the upload speed. This stays very constant and the download is shuttling between 31. On the Starlink app here, it's shuttling between 35 and 6 megabits per second. So 35 for download and 6 for upload, Yeah, so this is for FATA junction. So let's get to the next junction in a bit, all right? Let me give you one instance. Starlink service, once I am somewhere around 40 miles per hour, yeah, it's offline. Once I'm on 40 miles per hour, it shuttles between online, offline searching. So there's a bit of concern. So just to give you an idea that this is not really a plan that supports motion, right? So if you're thinking of running this test or using this in the use case that you are, in a motion or you're on motion, kindly note that this is not the most reliable option. So let me reduce. So it's shuttling between offline, online, obstructed. So let me reduce my speed so that I don't know what Starlink would just try to locate its satellite. So right. All right, so I'm back on 20 miles per hour. So you can see there that this is now online. So like I said, this is more like an experimental video to show you different scenarios that Starlink can really work optimally, because these are satellites in, what is that, geostationary satellite in orbit, communicating with what we have in front of us, which is the kit, the Starlink kit there, and that's the Gen3. And this has to be, but I think for some videos that I've seen online, the Starlink Mini does pretty much well on motion, because I don't know, for some reason it's really, for motion it does pretty much well. So if you're looking for that option that affords you that mobility connectivity. Yeah, how did I coin that word? But mobility connectivity, you would have to go for the Mini because it provides you that steady connection even when you're on motion. So um, it's pretty much a crowded road, and so we'll have to just be a little careful. And I have to conduct another speed test somewhere around the next roundabout, which is Marian. No, not Marian. We'll have to go down because this is Calabar, Nigeria, host to the Africa's biggest street party, the Carnival Calabar. Here, every December, the streets come alive with spectacles of performances. Don't just take it from me. Do well to visit. Plan your holiday, plan your Christmas, put Calabar in your schedule, and I can assure you that one thing for sure, you would have the best of fun. All right? So don't take my word for it. Come have a look for yourself. All right. So we are approaching somewhere around the second test site, which is the Rabana roundabout. So we're just going to do the simple test of the arrival, which is what we are almost doing. So let's run another speed test before the approach to our second test site. All right, so I've hit that on the Starlink app and as well as the... I have noticed that once I get past the 40 miles per hour mark, the service disconnects, right? Which is not something that anybody would want. Or if you're planning on using this on a moving vehicle van, I think there is a plan for that, but this is a global roam plan. Yeah, this is just the roam plan that we are on, and I'm just trying to test out how reliable, if I move from one location to the other, how stable our service is. All right. So for now, wow. Okay, this is the highest we've had, or this is the highest I've had so far. I think we just clocked. Did I just refresh that? We just clocked a hundred and about 100 and something mark, which is 130 megabits per second for the download speeds, and on the upload we have somewhere around 10 megabits per second. Okay, it's just shortly around 12 megabits per second. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so on the fast.com page, we're having speeds in excess of 140 megabits per second and 4.1. Okay, shortly between 3.5 and 4.1 megabits per second for the upload speed. Okay, so it just dropped to 2.8. But fair enough, I think it's now established that the upload speed is around 2 point something, 2.5 upwards. That has been very, very consistent. And for the Starlink app, or on the Starlink app, we have it around 12. So I don't know which one I should be going with, But anyways, and let's just play a video and see how, if that video would buffer at some point or it would play all along. So this is my video. Sorry, this was just, I do a lot of drive videos. So that's me testing out the refresh. I'm refreshing that and seeing, okay, so it starts and it's playing. All right, so I'm just seeing, let me go on the Starlink app again just to be sure that, okay, it's still staying online. And I'm around 40 miles per hour right now. So let me speed up a bit into the 60s and see if it still stays connected. Okay, so I'm around on 60. Okay. Okay, so another deduction I can make out of that scenario was that in Calabar we have quite a lot of tree canopies. So by tree canopies, I mean plants across the road, which is very, very good for the ecosystem. It beautifies the city like what we are driving through right now. It just provides that scenic ambience, and also, of course, it just balances the ecosystem, So yeah, that's all I know for that. But this is now part of my deduction that the tree covers might be an obstruction for Starlink, or yeah, it might be a factor. So this is the Mary Slessor roundabout, which we are going to run this test to see the connectivity. Mind you, all right, let's check something else. If the alignment really is part of, okay, so on the Starlink app, we can see that our satellite dish is really not aligned at this moment. So I'm thinking, from the twists and turns of the road, we somewhere had aligned, where I had the higher speed, we had somewhere aligned the dish, like, I mean, the car had aligned to the actual alignment. So right now we are off alignment, so it's really I'm sure it would affect the performance, which is the upload and download speeds of our Starlink service. But for now, everything seems to be working perfectly, and I'm just trying to play back. Okay, this is our test point, so I'll play back another video here just to see what. Okay, it's playing smoothly without any buffer. So we go back to upload fast.com to check our upload and download speed test, and on the Starlink app as well. Testing for that as well. Mind you, the Starlink kit is not aligned. So this is actually, your worst case scenario. If you just went to a site and you're popping up your devices, just let's get on the internet, let's connect. What can you have as connecting rate on those kind of scenarios? All right. Wow. Okay, so sorry I'm shouting, or I was just really, really stunned by the numbers I'm seeing here. So right now, on the Starlink app, we are having 177 Mbps for download speeds and 18 megabits per second for upload speeds. But for the PC, which we are using fast.com, I'm having in excess of 4.8, which is wow. Okay. So the combined loaded of this is now the 177. I'm pretty well. Let me just do a quick math on that. So note this video is for educational purposes only, and it doesn't really signifies. Okay, so averagely. All right. So right now I'm just trying to confirm the numbers we have here. We're having on download speeds here of 20 and upload speed of 4.8. Okay, let's get to the next roundabout, and here we go. So we are heading to Calabar Road. This can also serve as a mini tour to the cleaner city in Nigeria. This is Calabar, Africa's warmest welcome, home to the biggest carnival in Africa. And look, if you've not been in Calabar before, take this from me as an invitation. Hit me up, send me a DM, send me a message. I'll gladly be your tour guide on the 28th, from the 27th, 28th of December. Every year, the city come alive. All right, it's a spectacle of performances that I wouldn't want you to miss out on every bit of it. So, all right, now we are approaching the very busy part of the town, which is Mary Slessor into Calabar Road, which is more like hub to a lot of places, which is the banks, markets, malls, like. So let's see how all of this can either interfere or would impact the speed of Starlink. Of course, we know that Starlink is internet from space to humans on Earth, right? I didn't say that. All right, so I'm launching the app now, trying to see what speeds we can have on the Starlink app. And right now, on the Starlink app, we're having on the download speeds, we're having in excess of 155. And the upload is still shuttling between 4 megabits per second, which is still fair for me. Like, it's still somewhat below, or sorry, above the 2.5 or 2.8 threshold. Around the most popular landmark in Calabar, which is the 1111 roundabout, it holds lots of memories. This is the Millennium Park, where you have the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, where they have their parade and all of that. So we're gonna pack by and do a speed test around here. All right. So Um, I'm doing a drive test to there so that I can do a speed test here and check what the numbers are. All right, so on the numbers here on the drive before here, we are having 131 for downloads and 7 megabits per second for uploads. And okay, speed test is still trying to conclude its numbers. And okay, on speed test, we're having something very remarkable around here. I don't know, but wow. Okay, so this is like the highest we've had so far. On the on the download, we are having 203. That is high for all the numbers we've shuttled since the start of this video. And the upload speed is 23 megabits per second. That is wow. So compare that to whatever you're uploading, it is pretty much fast. And remember, that was a drive-through to arriving here. So let's just run the speed test again on stationary now that we're here. Okay, where the numbers are getting interesting. So right now on the Starlink app, confirmed, we have 97 megabits per second for the download speeds and 5 megabits per second for the upload speeds. And this is now stationary, and we are having on the fast.com 94 megabits per second on the download speeds, and around is still trying to determine, oh wow, this is now 5.4, which is in excess of the 2.5 and 2.8 we were shuttling with, which I think it's pretty much remarkable. So in all of this, you can see how different scenarios has affected or has impaired Starlink services. But overall, I might not say this is an excellent choice, but I can say this is somewhat a very fair choice for an internet connectivity. If you are, I wouldn't say it comes in very handy in a no network zone, all right? So, which Nigeria we're still struggling, or in Nigeria we're still struggling with that as a factor. There's yet to be network coverage in, let's say major cities or partly major cities in Nigeria. And, we're just trying to see how this coverage works, and also you can take this as a tour guide video to Calabar. And I can tell you for free that this town is an amazing city, okay? And I still keep saying, please do well to visit this. There are a lot of tourist sites. It holds so much memories from the colonial era, the slave trade, and as well as fun activities that you can do. There's the Kwa Falls, there's the Abokim Falls. There's just a whole lot of adventures awaiting you right in the city of Calabar and Cross River State. And don't forget, Africa's warmest welcome, the Carnival Calabar, awaits you every December. All right, so let's get on to the next location. And that's almost the last point before we call it a wrap. All right, so we're turning the roundabout now and heading to Mobile MCC. So this is Calabar Road, or Calabar Road, that links through to the Mauritala Mohammed Highway, Calabar. And we are going to have another test right now. Let me just turn and okay, so we're in motion now. Let me check in on my connectivity if we still have that. Okay, let me give it some gas. Okay, so I'm about on 60 megabits per second. Sorry. All right, so I've been reading numbers and it's pretty much okay. So I'm pretty much around 60 miles per hour right now, and we're still online. Okay, so what do I make of the earlier assumptions? I don't know. Make of it what you would, but I'm just giving you different city tests and how this really reacts to your Starlink as well as your experiences between the upload and download speeds. All right, so let's run. Okay, I'm just waiting for the cars to clear up before. Okay. All right, let's run another speed test on our way to our next. Okay, let me just check for the alignment. Okay, so right now is almost aligned. Like I told you, the twists and turns on the road, it's almost aligned and it's getting off the alignment almost. once we get, there is a turn here or there is a curve. So I'm sure once we get through that curve, we will lose this sort of alignment that we've had already. Okay, so we are already losing that alignment. And note by Starlink Kit helps you align your kit wherever you are by knowing where this arrow is pointing. So it means if we turn this to this way, which is north a bit, if we're stationary and turn this to our north, it will somewhat align and you have these borders go all glowing. So once it glows, you would see the Starlink is aligned. So right now we are having Starlink Kit tilt is incorrect. So that can, like I said, that can impair or also affect your internet speed experiences. So on the Starlink app, I'm going to start a drive test again before we approach our next stop, which is the mobile MCC junction. All right. Remember, this is Calabar, Nigeria, and you know, I'm just giving you a city tour. You can take that for a city tour and also Starlink experience. All right. So note that this video is not sponsored by anybody. It's just me trying to see how this really affects real world experience. All right. And okay, just before we get to the junction, we have our readings here, which is very poor. For the first time, we are having around download speeds of 19 megabits per second and the upload speeds of 3 megabits per second. And let's confirm from our fast.com. On fast.com here we have numbers on 87 megabits per second for the download, and upload is 1.4 megabits per second. This is actually the first that we've gone below the 2.5 megabits per second mark. I would say that's pretty poor. And okay, so there is a popular more of a settled area here, which is the mobile fuel station already, or is a gas station, if you may call it that way. It's a gas station, so we'll just clear into the gas station and use that as our stop point to do the real world test of this area and see the readings for ourselves. Okay. All right, let me clear to somewhere we have a clear sky view, and we'll run this test just in a moment. All right, so I think I would park somewhere at the center here. All right. Okay, so we're here. All right, so let's just have another run speed test and start. Here we go. Wow. Wow. Okay, the numbers seems pretty much very, very, very amazing, I must say. On the Starlink app, we are having in excess of 200. Wow. Okay, so the download speed on the Starlink app is showing 224. Is that the highest we've had so far? I think for upload speeds. So no, sorry, for download speeds. This is actually for download speeds. This is actually for download speeds, this is actually the highest we've had so far in the course of this video test. And for upload, we have 4, very poor. And for speed.com, we have 81 megabits per second for download and 3.0 for upload. We're here at Mobile MCC right here in the city of Calabar, and this is more like an intersection for motorists, you know, whatever, but it's quite a very busy area per se. And we just stopped to check our real world experience or real world test for our last stop, and on our test here we are having an upload speed of 81 megabits per second, and on the Starlink app or on the fast.com app we're having 81 for download and 3.0 for upload, which is pretty much, do I say fair? No, it's very poor. All right, and on the Starlink app we're having really much around 36 megabits per second for download and 5 megabits per second for upload. I think around here the upload seems to be very, you know, very fair, but downloads are quite very, very shaky. So this has been a real world test of your Starlink experience. If you're considering buying your Starlink, it's a good buy, you know, if you're looking for that reliable internet service connectivity every time of the day. But the connectivity speeds, you know, varies from place to place, or you know, either you have a clear view, a clear sky view, or you have whatever. Remember, this is always linking up to the satellites in space, So, and if you're considering, if you're having like a rally, in such use case scenario, like a rally, and you're thinking of an internet connectivity that would give you connections, and you're, on the move, I don't think the Gen 3 roam plan is that fit. All right. I've seen some tests which I'll do later on. Some tests with the Starlink Mini. If you're driving, and that's if you're on motion. I don't know if there is a service for that, more like Starlink on the move kind of service. But this is a global roam plan we're checking out, and looking at different scenarios or different setup at different points, and how this works. So go through the Starlink app itself. You see your different plan that suits your purpose, and also because I've seen also someone with a residential plan taking his kids, going somewhere else to make use of the Starlink, and it showed disconnected. The person was kind of very furious and disappointed that he didn't get a service, and after much back and forth, I had to tell the person that residential plan means it's pinpoint to a particular location. You can't move your kids to anywhere else. So these are the different setups Starlink has afforded you. So don't try to go around look. Just there are plans for every possible scenarios, and go check it out. And I think I'll see you on the next video.